Well, hello. I told you I would do a video for you on how to make pasta. So we're going to do this first part. It's going to be two parts. The first part's going to be in real time. Then we're going to take a break because the pasta has to sit. And then the next one we'll do it with the machine and roll it out and do all of that stuff. So here we go. So the first thing, I make an egg pasta, which is, as Kirk says, you get your mise en place or your mess in place. And so your pasta is going to be flour, regular table salt, not kosher salt, table salt, 4 eggs. It will have a tablespoon of water. We'll get to that in a moment. You're going to use your dough hook. I have a cup and a half cup dry measuring. Don't use a measuring cup, like a liquid measuring cup. A tablespoon and a teaspoon. And then I'll show you, I do a little thing sometimes and I'll show you, but this is not necessary for your pasta. This is basic pasta. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with the bowl of the mixer, okay? And we're going to take 3.5 cups. So I'm gonna just start with a half cup here. So we're gonna do 3.5 cups of flour. So that's a half cup. And we've got 1, 2, and 3. All right. So we've got that all squared away. That's the base. And then we're going to do a teaspoon. And I should probably use a teaspoon, but I never do because I know how much it is. But we're going to use about a teaspoon of salt and put that in there. Now, here's where I vary a little bit, and you do not have to do this, but I'm doing this for a pasta that I'm making tonight. I'm going to make tagliatelle, and I'm going to put a little bit of garlic powder in it, probably about a teaspoon, and my favorite pepper, which is guajillo. It will add a little zing to the recipe, but you do not have to do that if you don't want to. Now, with the dough hook in, we're going to turn this on. Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure that's lock your machine, and you're going to turn it on to 2. It is never going to go higher than 2. Okay? So we're on 2, and we're going to just let this mix up for 5 or 10 seconds. That's all. All we're doing is combining this stuff. Now, with my cup, I usually fill this up with water right here, and I leave it on the side. The very first thing, I know this is going to seem real weird, but the very first thing you do, put in a tablespoon of water. As much as that doesn't seem like it's going to do anything, it is going to start the process, okay? The next thing you're going to do are the 4 eggs. You're going to add them one at a time and let them incorporate mostly. Don't get real obsessive about it, but just let them incorporate mostly and put them in one at a time. If 2 go in, it's no big deal. So what that's going to do, you see, takes only about 5 or 10 seconds. Incorporate it. Okay, let's do another one. And one more. Now, while that mixes up, the other thing that I forgot to tell you is you do need a spatula because you're going to have to scrape down the sides. And this is when I would do the first one, is after the eggs come in, scrape that down. I usually leave it going. You can stop it if you want. Now, here's where it's a bit of finesse. And you'll learn this as you do the pasta. It's really easy. I always put in 3 tablespoons of water right at the top. After the eggs, after the whole thing is done, I always put 3 tablespoons in. That will, believe it or not, if you can see what's happening in here, that's going to start everything. Now, like I said, we're going to do this in real time, so it's going to take a minute. Or 3. Maybe 4. This is going to start to incorporate, and it will start pulling away from the sides of the pan, of the sides of the mixer. It hadn't done it yet. I think I'll go ahead, and this is where you have to start judging. Don't overdo it, because you can put in, but you can take away, but you can't put in. That doesn't make any sense.
Backwards.
That was totally backwards. I start putting, I'm going to put 2 more tablespoons in, because it's still looking really, it's not looking like a dough yet. You'll start seeing, all of a sudden, you'll hear it start being, if you can hear the mixer's working a little bit, you can start hearing it. And all of a sudden, the dough will start coming together. And when we get done with this, I'll show you what the perfect dough looks like. And it will be probably another couple minutes of this doing this. What is happening here is we are doing this instead of sitting at the countertop and kneading this for 15 to 20 minutes. This is what this is doing. We're still going to have to knead it, but that's what all of this is doing. And I don't like that process. I'm a delicate fucking flower. Purchased. Grimaced. All right, so it's starting to come together. What I also do is sometimes I will stop it, lift this up, whoops, make a little mess. Lift this up, and I will go into the middle of this and see what the bottom looks like. And if the this looks actually not bad. Sometimes it'll just be all flour. If that's the case, you need to add more water. But we're doing pretty well. So once again, on 2, we're gonna let this go. I may add just a half a tablespoon of water. Again, we're gonna see what's gonna happen here. You don't wanna get it too wet. That's what I was trying to say a little while ago. If you get it too wet, it's gonna be a mess. And it's gonna be really hard to use on the machine. All right, I think I am gonna put about another half a teaspoon or tablespoon of water in, and that's probably all I'll do. So what I did was I did the initial the initial tablespoon. I did 3 more right away after the eggs, and so far I've added 2.5 tablespoons more. Okay, that's 3.5 cups of flour plus the seasoning. Now, start pulling this away from the sides, and you're hearing that the dough hook is starting to work, and so's the mixer. Now, see what's happening here is it's starting to clump up. That's what you want. You definitely want it to look like that. Actually, move it over here. See what that all looks like in there. And pretty soon, this is going to be what almost looks like a log. In just another minute or so, it'll start happening. This looks pretty good. It's my friend Spam Wrist.
And I'm going to add my 2 cents. I was surprised to hear this. It looks like the machine is working really hard and breaking. It's not. It's working. And as a matter of fact, don't ever walk away from it because it'll walk right off the counter.
Right off the counter. We have had that happen.
Yeah. But this is normal. It's like, ooh, gosh, it's working hard. Yep, it is. And you're not.
Well, you will in a minute, though. I think I'm going to do one more half. This is, like I said, where you have to start finessing it a little bit. And I will show you when we knead it. We're going to knead it. If you do need more water, how to do it. Okay? This is actually looking pretty good. I know it looks horrible, but it's looking pretty good.
Is this how little old Italian ladies did it?
No, they did it on the counter for like 20 minutes. That's why they were all muscular and all in bad moods. Because they had to do this every day. Oh, hold on just 1 second. I'm going to fix something. I thought. Oh, the blade was coming off. Yeah, now it'll come together. My dough hook wasn't on very well. There. Now watch. It'll now start coming together in almost like a log. Isn't this fascinating concept? So what you want is you want all of this stuff to be incorporated in one big thing, whether it's a log or a ball or anything like that. And that's absolutely what's happening now.
I call it clump o dough.
Clump o dough, and see, it just happened.
There it is.
And there it is. So we're going to let this go for 30 seconds or so until we're really sure that it's all pulled together and there's no dry dough anywhere. Honestly, all this is patience. It's all it is. There is absolutely very little talent involved in this. All right, so look at that. So we're pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to turn this off. It's going to look like this.
Clump
Okay?
o dough.
Now, what we're going to do is we are going to put a little bit of flour. Wasn't that professional? Doesn't that look like the Great British Baking Show? And we're going to knead it. And what we're doing now is we are incorporating the gluten that's in it. And the gluten is, get in there. The gluten we need because that is going to supply some of the elasticity to this. It is going to feel really, really stiff when you start this. So just push it, just like you would regularly knead, any kind of dough that you're going to do. And this will probably take you a couple of minutes. I'm sorry, I'm getting all...
Your silicone mat.
My silicone mat is not cooperating. Anyway, all of a sudden when you're doing this, you will feel from the stiffness, it will start to loosen up. And when it starts doing that, that's when you know that the gluten is starting to work. Okay? Now, if you ever wanted to add more moisture to this, what you would do is you would take your, just with your fingertips and do that. That's all you would do. You would not do another tablespoon or anything like that. You have to be incredibly delicate with it at this point, or it'll get mad at you and it will have a bit of an attitude and it'll just... Now, all of a sudden, in talking, I just felt it loosen up. It all of a sudden felt... Now, if you see right here, when I push... See, it sticks right there and it starts to come up a little bit. It's not quite done yet. If that continues to have that divot in it, we're not quite there. We will always have a divot when we do that, but it will come up quicker. All right, so we're going to keep doing this for another minute or so.
It's work.
It is. It's a nice little workout. I went to Pilates today, so...
Strong like bull.
No, I'm strong like a 72-year-old man. All right, so I am going to do this, I think, 20 more times, and then we'll be good. That's 5. That's 10. You can see how easy this is now as opposed to when I started it. The dough has softened up considerably. All right. And there is 20 right here. All right, now what we're going to do is see it starting. If I let me do it. When I push, it's going to come up a little quicker. See that? You probably can't, but it is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this in a tight ball. Okay, we're going to put this in a tight ball. Sorry, I'll do it a couple more times. There. We're going to put this in a pretty tight ball. Almost like well, not a ball, but more like a hockey puck, okay? And then I'm gonna take some plastic wrap and put plastic wrap over it. Pretty tight, like that. And then I'm just gonna leave it on the counter here. And I will leave that, you have to at least a half an hour. I sometimes forget about it and it'll stay there a couple hours. So nothing is bad about that. All right, so we're gonna stop here because I'm gonna let it hydrate for a little while. And then when we come back on the next one, then we're gonna start using the machine and doing all of the pasta making. Okay, back in a bit.